Back in the day, multiplayer games were strife with bots. AI components that you could fight again to test your skills against, whether it is in battles with real players mixed in as well, or it was just co-op player versus bot action. And if I'm going to be honest, I adored it. That was the golden age of gaming for me, where you could go on and have fun and you didn't have this issue with people being elitist saying, hey, you're just fighting against bots, you're no good, who cares? I'm having a great time. But do not be feared, my friend, because it looks like the AAA games are bringing back that resurgence. Is this the return of bots in multiplayer gaming? Now, if you're going to ask me what games I play most of the time these days, it is multiplayer games, and that's mostly for the reason of time. Really sinking your teeth into a single-player story is fantastic and getting immersed in it. However, if you don't have time to play for hours and hours a day, or even every few days, multiplayer games are often where I get most of my enjoyment when it comes to sitting down and having a bit of fun. In 2005, we got the amazing classic Star Wars Battlefront 2, and I think for me, this is definitely where playing with bots in multiplayer started. Having hundreds of troops on the battlefield recreating Hoth, Endor, Kashyyyk, it was a gorgeous sight to behold, but it never really came back. You see, as multiplayer started getting more and more competitive, people didn't really care for bots. You have games like CSGO that came around, which implemented bots in some types of game modes and playing to practice. However, as it got more competitive, people started to stray away from that sort of thing. We saw the same with things like Overwatch and Valorant, really bringing people into more intense gameplay. And of course, Battle Royale, which has been the most popular game genre for the last 3 years, hasn't really had the chance to put bots in. They don't really fit in that medium. But it looks like we're starting to see the comeback and the renaissance of good old AI fighting within multiplayer games. One of the big recent ones has been Chivalry 2. Before its release, I played many of the alphas and beta testing, and of course the cross-play open betas, and boy was it a lot of fun to play with 64 players in a game. However, if the games didn't fill up, they would add bots in just to bolster up the numbers. And for a game like Chivalry 2, which is all about that grand scale medieval combat, seeing troops fighting from side to side in these massive medieval sieges is about the experience. Decapitating soldiers left, right, and center, picking up anything from enemies' heads or chickens from the floor and throwing them into the crowd. It works fantastically. Then more recently, of course, we've got Battlefield 2042, announcing that there will be 128 player battles, but these servers could be bolstered up and boosted in terms of numbers by adding in bots to the game. Now, DICE say they've got an all-new bot AI that they've been working on that is going to be fantastic, and I'm really excited to see what they can do with that, because of course, one of the main issues with adding bots is it kind of makes it quite easy for everyone else. But you see, one of the fantastic parts and things that DICE is doing is really focusing on that bigger scale and casual market, just like Chivalry 2 did, of course, granted on a much larger scale and to a much larger audience. They've also stated that playing with bots, and even if you're in a private co-op match with just a few of your friends against a load of bots, that will count to leveling up and getting unlocks. Now, some people might be quite against this, saying that people can just grind bots and then get all the best stuff, but I think that really comes down to DICE and see how well they can balance the game, because if they've made their game properly, it doesn't really matter what guns you unlock. Yeah, you get a bit of variety and you get more choice of guns that you might prefer over others, but there shouldn't be a gun that is way more powerful than every other gun. We've seen that before in things like the recent Star Wars Battlefront games from DICE, but hopefully this is going to be the test to see whether they can really fully balance it out, especially if a lot of people are going to be doing their leveling up against bots. One of the newer things at E3 was talking about Halo Infinite, bringing a free-to-play multiplayer, and of course talks that there would be bots in that as well. The players could join servers and the numbers could be bolstered up with AI NPCs that will go around and fight for your teams. I think one of the great things that they could do in a game like Halo Infinite or Battlefield is order bots around a little bit. Maybe in Battlefield you can ask for medic, and a medic bot that's nearby could come and give you some bandages, or maybe a supply bot could drop you some supplies, because we all know that players very rarely do that sort of thing. But this is where the controversy comes in, because of course there are two sides to this argument. There is a whole group of people that are completely against bots in multiplayer settings, and whilst I really disagree fundamentally, I can kind of see where they're coming from. A lot of people really just want to play against other players, and if someone else has leveled up loads just playing against easy bots, you can kind of get why they might feel like it's a bit unfair. However, if the games are balanced well and done properly, it shouldn't really matter what level you are within the game, because all the guns, whilst having their advantages and disadvantages in each situation, shouldn't be way more powerful than one other weapon. I think the best way to get around this sort of thing is to have the choice in servers. servers. I understand that Battlefield 2042 want to bolster up their 128 player servers by adding bots into the numbers, but maybe there could be a choice for that. Maybe if they add in custom servers that people can buy and rent and put dedicated plugins and modules on, perhaps there could be bot servers, or perhaps there could be strictly no bot servers, so people have that choice to play with whatever they want. I think Chivalry 2 doesn't matter as much. You see, it's a way more casual game, and when you're playing sword and sword combat, it's so satisfying slicing through 3 or 4 bots at once, and yeah, they may not be real players, but it still looks goddamn cool. Despite having a YouTube channel and basically making my whole career around video games, I'm quite a casual gamer when it comes to it. Yeah, I've had my fair share of competitive play. I played a lot of Mount and Blade competitive stuff, and of course Insurgency I played quite a bit there, but when I just want to relax, when I just want to hop on for an hour or so every day or every other day, I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to be fighting against people that are always shit talking on the mic, and sometimes I just want to relax, and that's when I play Insurgency co-op. That's when I play Chivalry 2. That's when I play a game like the old Star Wars Battlefront, where you can shoot, test your skills, but also understand that gaming is supposed to be fun. I've seen on my Chivalry 2 videos when I'm talking about how much fun I've had, and someone says, oh, this guy's pretty good at the game, and there will always be a reply saying, yeah, but he's playing against bots. And my question is, why does that matter? Why does it matter how someone else plays their game? And I understand a lot of people enjoy that elitist and very hardcore gameplay experience, but someone that just likes to relax and plays games for solely fun and not competitive victory, I think bots are one of the best things that happen to multiplayer games, because it means that Battlefield 2042, even though it's going to be incredibly popular and should last for years and years on end, it can now last forever. Multiplayer only games that don't have additional bots and AI NPCs within them will die off eventually. And of course, many people will say, who cares? What matters? Well, it is a shame for the people that still want to keep coming back. The Star Wars Battlefront 2s of the world. The people that have nostalgia to those games, that played them as a child, and they really want to see what these games have done. How have they held up? But they try and log on and there's no one on any servers. They can't get a gameplay experience. And even if they do find a server with 2 or 3 people on, they're not going to get the experience they once had. They're not going to get the experience the developers intended. Unfortunately, with bots now coming back into games, it doesn't matter how old that IP is. It doesn't matter what system it is on, how populated the servers are. You will always get the experience that the developers intended from launch. And I think that is a fantastic way for gaming to go. And I think bringing bots back in a game like Battlefield 2042, in a game like Chivalry 2, or even Halo Infinite can only be positive. As long as there's choice for people that enjoy the different styles of gameplay, I think it could be a really good step in the right direction to making games that are worth more, add more value to their price tag, because they last longer. But please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to check up on them. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, leave a dislike if you didn't. But until then, I will see you in the next one.